Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sumukascha Yekadantascha Kapilo Gajakarnakaha Lambodharascha Vikato Vignarajo Vinayakaha Dhumaketurganadhyakshaha Palachandro Gajananaha Vakratundaha Surpakarno Herambaha Skandapurvajaha Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Sakivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopasantaye Yasyat Varadavakradhya Parishadhya Parastatham Vignam Nignanti Satatam Vishwatsenam Tamastriye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sachidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Aklishtakarine Namo Vedanta Vedhyaya Gurave Buddhipakshine Krishnadvaipaya Namvyasam Sarvabhuta Hiteratam Vedapcha Bhaktaram Vande Samadhi Nilayam Munim Sahasramurte Purushottamasya Sahasra Netranana Padabahoho Sahasranamnam Savanam Prachastham Niruchyate Janmajaradishantyai. Bhagavan's great. Let us continue. We came up to Amrityuk Sarva Dhraksimha Sandhata Sandhiman Stiraha Ajo Durmashana Sasta Visrutatma Surariha. Now let us continue. Guru Guruttamo Surariha. Yeah, okay. Sathya Parakram. Finish it. Guruttamo Dhama Sathya Parakramaha. Up to that point we came. We came up to that point. Nimisho Nimishasradvi Vachas Patirudaradhihi. Nimishaha Animishaha Sradvi Vachaspati Rudaradhihi. Sankara Bhashyam takes it as one name. It can also be said, it can be taken as two names. Vachaspatihi Udaradhihi. So, Nimishaha Animishaha. Okay, Nimishaha means, say Bhagavan, who's Swami, who's in Yoga Nidra, with his eyes closed. Now, that does not mean he is sleeping, as we say, because he is also awake at the same time. How is it possible, sir, that you can be asleep at the same time being awake? Right? It is in our own life, if you look at it, we think we are awake to this external world and we do so many things, right? And then at night time we think we go to sleep. But even while we are engaged in all our daily activities, we are also aware intuitively and in our conscience. We know, each one of us knows for a fact that none of this is really true, right? Even though we're enjoying, we're going through sadness, happiness, whatever we do, we know very well that there is something there, that it is not true, and there is something beyond that. So if we take our own personal experience, so we are asleep to the real truth while we are enjoying this dream world, to put it in another way. So that aspect is what Yoga Nidra. Now Bhagavan is Yoga Nidra because he's always in oneness, right? There is no separation. But in our case, we feel separate. That's another problem. But this aspect of Nimishaha, where we have closed our eyes to the reality, right? That aspect is Nimishaha. This is how Swami is manifesting continuously through us. The Nimishaha aspect is continuously manifesting in our life because we are asleep. Then we hold on to the yoga aspect of the Bhagavan who's within us. Then we can also experience yoga nidra. But the nimishaha aspect of Swami is within us all the time. Is in our life all the time. Because we are asleep, we have closed our eyes and still continue to live. Right? That aspect. Animishaha is exactly the opposite. And suppose if I do yoga nidra, then I'm also become animishaha, which is always aware of the truth, of the Satyam, of the Atma. If I'm aligned with my Atma all the time and living with selfless love, that becomes animishaha. I'm awake to that. Always. There is one aspect of me that is always awake to that. If we don't manifest it, that's all. Due to our selfishness and self-aggrandizement, we don't manifest it. But there is one aspect of within us which we call as conscience, awareness, whatever we want to call it, right? That I am so and so, that I aspect, that chit aspect, that doesn't change at all, right from our young age to now. Nothing changes, right? That aspect of it is animishaha, always awake. So both the nimishaha and the animishaha aspect of this prema is in our own life. Every minute we can experience it. Nimisho nimisha sragvi sragvi. Now, we know there are the Panchabhutangal are there, right? We all have read about it. We understand to some degree what those are. The five senses of perception that we have, each one corresponds to the same aspect in the external world. When my eye sees a rock, for example, we say the rock is immobile, and we sometimes consider that the rock, some people think it doesn't have life and all that. I don't think so. I think it has got life. The question is, when I look at a piece of rock, is the rock also looking back at me? What is happening there? What is the aspect of the rock that captures the essence of my vision? You have to think. Same way I hear a music, I hear a sound. What is the aspect in that sound that captures the essence in my hearing? The same thing you can say for smell. We eat something which we can all relate to, and we say this food tastes very good, this food does not taste good, okay, whatever it is. What is or even aspects of taste that we can go into. What is the aspect in that padartham, in that thing that I put in my mouth and taste with my tongue? What is the aspect in that thing that marries with, that corresponds to, that is one with the essence of taste that I have on my tongue? So what is my tongue tasting the food or the food tasting the tongue? There is a common element of the essence of perception, both in my organs of perception as well as in the objects that are being perceived. That is why my eyes, for example, cannot hear a sound, because the essence in a sound is not present in my essence of vision. Do you understand? So every organ of perception, the jnana indriyangal, the essence in that is also present in the external objects. This essence is called Tanmatrai. Okay? Matre means something that is within measure, within a limited measure. If I go beyond that, it is tanmatrai, so long as I obey the law of nature. If I see something, only for seeing purpose. If I see it a little bit longer enough, then my desire comes. So tanmatrai, if I do the perception within the matra means measure, a limit. Within that limit, then that is cool, that is comforting, right? That is tanmatrai. This essence that is present in my senses of perception and in the objects of perception. Excuse me, there is somebody having a problem with the telephone line. Okay. The essence that is a common essence, the same essence that is present in Jnana Indriyangal and the objects of perception, that enables me to perceive through my five senses of perception. That is tanmatrai. That essence is like a garland. You look at so many objects, whether I see or hear or smell or taste, right, or touch or whatever, that same essence is present in all the five elements. But each of the five elements has one aspect of that essence. That is why it becomes a garland of five flowers, if you can call it that way. But that is present all through the cosmos. That is why I perceive things. This garland is called Vaijayanti Malai. Okay? We know Srimad Narayana as the Vaijayanti Malai around his neck. This is what that Vaijayanti Malai is, nothing but that. It attracts through these five senses so that we can enjoy the nature, the beauty of nature, and live constructively. This person, this element, this Vaijayanti Malai, that who is wearing this Vaijayanti Malai, that is Sragvi. Nimisho, Nimisha, Sragvi, one who is donning the Vaijayanti Malai, which is the garland of the tanmatrais. Vachaspatihi, Vachaspati Rudaradhihi. Let us take it as one name first. Vachaspatihi, Vachaspati Rudaradhihi. We learn so many knowledges, aspects of knowledge we learn in life. They're all called Vidyas. But there is somebody who is the Adhipati, who is the master, who is the controller of all the Vidyas. That is Vachaspati Rudaradhihi. Vachaspatihi means the Vachaspati Rudaradhihi is because he is the Adhipati of all the Vidyas. He is also what we call in English as omniscient, Sarvajna. He is aware of all the things at all the times. So that is because he is the Adhipati, he is the master, the ruler of all the Vidyas. He is also all-knowing. Vachaspati Rudaradhihi. Vachaspatihi means one who is the Adhipati of all the Vidyas. The ruler, the controller, the master of all the Vidyas is Vachaspatihi. Udaradhihi means because of that is Sarvajna. He is the embodiment of Jnanam. Jnana Swarupaya Namaha, we say, right? That Jnana Swarupam, because he is the Adhipati of all the Vidyas. So Vachaspati Rudaradhihi, either take it as one name, same thing, Vachaspatihi, Udaradhihi. Agranir Gramanir Sriman Nayo Neta Samiranaha. Agranihi. When we pray to Bhagavan, when we pray to Swami, we want Mokshan Swami, I want to give up my attachment, the acquisitive desire to the world. We still live in the world, enjoy the world as an agent of Bhagavan, not for my sake, and not to acquire things. This is very important because Bhagavan has given us so many myriad things that for our enjoyment only, for our happiness only. And it's like a huge field of disciplined enjoyment where you can get happiness, but not for my own sake, not as if they are my property, right? It is something. You go to a garden, you enjoy the beauty of the garden. You don't think the garden is yours, right? You enjoy the flower on the tree, and you don't go and pluck the flower and go to a public garden and talk. You enjoy it, and you enjoy the sunset, for example. You never think the sunset belongs to me. The beauty of sunset belongs to me, right? Everything else in the world is like that. It is given for our enjoyment. The mistake we make is some of them we think we want to acquire it for our own sake. That the acquisition is where the problem is. Now, this whole while we're enjoying the beauty in nature in our life, at some point in time in our life, the desire comes. What is it that gives me so much happiness? These are all come and go. All these happinesses in this world, even the beauty of sunset comes and goes, right? It's not permanent. So what is it now? I want something permanent. So when I start seeking that permanent bliss, okay, that does not change, that is constant, always with me, and I seek that very sincerely and with great effort and determination and commitment with Shraddha, and with Shraddha and Vinayam I seek that, then I become a mumukshu. A mumukshu means one who seeks the freedom. Mumukshu means one who seeks the freedom. And when you seek the freedom, who is there to give you that freedom? Right? Think for a second. We all take for granted that we can take all our abhilashas, all our requests, all our sorrows, all our problems to Bhagavan, because intuitively we have this faith that Bhagavan will solve all those. Right? Otherwise we wouldn't be going to him. That entity that gives me freedom itself, if I seek it, this is important. If I become a mumukshu, if I seek that freedom, the one who grants that freedom is Agranihi. Agranihi. Is someone having trouble with the telephone line? I'm again asking.
Mr. Krishnaswamy, this is Janaki.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I seem to be getting kicked out, and somebody else may be also having the same problem. So.
Okay.
I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, thank you. So Agranihi. Okay, Agranihi is one who grants freedom to the seeker of freedom. Gramanihi, as Gramam, we saw Gramam means group. And see, if you notice something in life, we all, even though we kind of go towards the so-called nuclear family, me, my spouse, my children, and everybody else is outside the circle. And then we may have a so-called circle of friends, and then all the others, right? When it comes to family, we kind of narrow ourselves, narrow our own mental boundaries of what a family is. In spite of this, sometimes we may want to be alone, that's okay. But you really look at it, each one of us derives a certain amount of peace and happiness in groups of people. Okay? This we call in our English language a gregarious nature. We cannot live in an island by ourselves, to put it in another way. So there is an aspect in us that is seeking the group living, the group way of living, because that gives a certain comfort. That push, that impulse, and that pull, that gives us this mutual energy that comes from the presence of other people in our life, for example. That grouping tendency is gramanihi. Grama means one who conducts the groups, right? If Bhagavan has not made us to be solitary animals, we are all gregarious animals. With that tendency that pulls and pushes us towards a grouping, even though, due to our own selfishness, we may move people away, but fundamentally, we all want to, there's a certain energy we derive, a certain happiness that we derive from people around. Please remember that and just analyze that. You will see the truth of that statement. Okay. Sometimes, the too much crowd, we may complain and this and that and all that. But just think, when there is lots of crowd and you have to stand in line, or when the bus is packed, or whatever it is, right? Okay, and you may be complaining about the discomfort and all that. Think exactly the opposite. Suppose if the crowd were not there and you're all alone, how would you feel? How long can you really handle that loneliness, right? So the natural tendency is for us to be in groups, and that aspect is gramanihi. Agrani, gramani, Sriman. Sriman means one who's effulgent. Sriman, they're so effulgent. The effulgence comes from the sacrifice, because it's a sacrificial fire that's going on all the time. Like classic example is the sun. Sun is so effulgent. The stars are very effulgent because they're all sacrificing themselves in a fire, so to speak. And that aspect of self-sacrifice gives out a certain effulgence. And that effulgence is Sriman. Nyayaha. Agrani gramani Sriman Nyayo Neta Samiranaha Nyayaha. Nyayam, we all know what it means. Sir, we say in our own colloquial word, what is this? Is this Nyayam? Is this Anyayam? It doesn't have to be defined, because each one of us knows what Nyayam is, right? Somebody else doesn't have to describe it to us. Our conscious knows what is Dharma and what is not Dharma. And we know when I speak harshly to somebody, I know in my own self, I know that is not Nyayam, right? So there is a certain rule there's a certain code of conduct for each one of us to live by. This is a law of nature. Each one of us knows that instinctively. That Nyayam that has been explained through various scriptures, and the explanation of that takes a vehicle of a certain logic, certain reasoning, right? So that each person can understand it. That process of reasoning and process of inquiring and finding out what that Nyayam is, that process is also called Nyayam. So that Nyayam is Bhagavan. That is nothing but, it is all academic explanations, okay, from Sankara Bhashyam I'm saying. But if you look at it personally, it makes much more sense. If when you are departing from prema, when you're not conducting yourself according to prema, when you're not loving, naturally you are miserable, you cannot be happy. So the process of sharing, giving and receiving love itself is Nyayam. And prema itself, love itself is Nyayam. Both the process as well as that entity that is present there always, that is Nyayam. That Bhagavan is present in that aspect in each one of us all the time. These are all various aspects of the same Bhagavan who is present within us. We saw the aspect of Agranihi, Gramanihi, then Nyayaha is present in that aspect. Neta is the one who is conducting the affairs of the whole cosmos. Neta. Now, we are not, you and I are not conducting anything. We have not achieved anything. Trust me. And if I were to ask you a question, and yes, each one of us, you can either answer later or you can take this as homework. Very simple question. What are you doing? That's the question. What are you doing? Am I a CEO in a company? Am I a teacher? Am I a mother? Just question, think about it. It's a very simple question. A profound answer is there, okay, to the answer to that question. What are you doing? Okay, take that question. So why that is important? Neta. Neta is the one who is conducting the affairs of the cosmos. That includes my life. He's the one who's conducting the affairs of my life also. So the cosmos, the Neta. Right? We all know, in spite of, we say man proposes, God disposes, but what does it mean? We all know, in spite of all the dancing we may do and all the, self-proclamation and everything else we may do in our life, we all know that they can all change in a kshanam. In the blink of an eye, things can change. That's the clearest proof that there is somebody else who's conducting it, not me. Right? Things happen according to, not to my design, but somebody else's design. Some other design is there. We all know that intuitively. Right? We don't have to be convinced of the truth. We all know that. That entity that is conducting it, that is Neta. Samiranaha, Nyayo, Neta, Samiranaha, Samiranaha. Have you ever thought about, we go in a garden and we see the breeze blowing and the leaves are moving around. We enjoy the beauty of it, right? And why should the leaf move? Because they say the breeze hits it. But what is the aspect in that wind, in that breeze, that makes things move? You can call it as, physics. I can take physics and call it this force. But what is it? That is a name I give to that entity. That's all. Right? A kinetic force, whatever. Those are all my name. But what is it in there that makes it move? I can say, okay, because of change in temperatures, the molecules move. Those are all my explanation. But what is it that makes it move like that? Right? That is Samirana. That aspect is Bhagavan. See how sukshma and how subtle and how pervasive Bhagavan is present in our life. This is how beautifully Bhishmacharya is explaining to us. That's what all the various rishis have taught him. Right? It's how sukshma, subtle it is. It's present. Think. Samiranaha. Sometimes, when it is extremely hot outside and there is not even a whisper of breeze, we sweat. At that time, think of Samiranaha. Swami, Samiranaha, will you manifest yourself? Then he will manifest. Nyayo Neta Samiranaha Sahasramurta Vishvatma Sahasrakshat Sahasramat Sahasramurta. Murta means form. Murtam also means head. Okay. Now Sahasramurta, Murtam, if you look at various rupangal, various forms, and infinite forms are there. It is Bhagavan. Every form is Bhagavan only. All the eyes that are looking at me are all Bhagavan. All the things that my eyes look at also have got eyes looking back at me, including a chair that is sitting there that has got eyes that is looking back at me. Please remember it. Who's that? That is Bhagavan. Infinite eyes, infinite forms. Every form. There is not a single form that you should exclude. Sahasramurta. Vishvatma. So is the Atma for the whole Vishwam. Vishwam means cosmos. He's the Atma. He's the indweller. He's the one who's pervasive, present. Right? Activating at the same time the witness. Sahasrakshaha, infinite eyes, we talked about it. Sahasrapad is again when I walk, we think my feet are like that, but please, what is a foot? Padam, what does it signify? We think feet means immediately it has got all these toes and no. Padam signifies something that is much more majestic, much more magnificent, and much more sacred than what I consider to be my foot. Padam is the one that supports, right? Without my feet are the one that's supporting me. Feet. So what is the support for this whole Vishwam, for the whole earth? That is why we say in Trivikrama Avataram how Bhagavan's Padam is manifested itself. Bhagavan is a support for everything. And what is this support? What is it that is Padam, Sahasra Padam, everywhere, infinite ways of support are there. Infinite ways, not one or two. And it is not constant. It's always available. In any place you go at any time. What is that? That is prema only. But it appears in infinite feet, as we call it, in translating crudely from Sanskrit to English. Okay? Sahasramurta, Vishvatma, Sahasraksha, Sahasrapat. So, we've done 2 slokams today. No, we've done 1.5 today. Okay. Stop. Nimisho nimshasragvi vachaspatirudaradhihi agranir gramanir sriman nyayo neta samiranaha sahasramurdha vishvatma sahasrakshas sahasrapat avartano nivrittatma samvritas sampramardanaha. Okay. Avartanam. We say go to a music concert, Mridangam players start Tani Avartanam, as we say. That's the time people get up and go out. Actually, there's a whole universe is there. We must discipline ourselves to listen to a Mridangam player doing Avartanam. You will so much enjoy it. Okay? But that Avartanam, where does that word come? It means something that repeats itself. All the years, the 60 Samvatsarangal we have, Hey Velabi is for Marathis, it is Telugus, they've already started. And for Malayalam people and Tamil people, it will start in another month, right? So what does this mean? We call it New Year immediately. But what is the significance of that? The idea is everything in life, also there is a repetitive nature of it, right? What does it mean? Today is Sunday. Sunday is going to repeat. Today is Sunday at 8:30 in the morning is going to repeat. So everything in life, the time is cyclical. Time is also linear. And time is also constant. And time also does not exist. So there are so many aspects of it. So the repetitive nature of things. Bhagavan's teachings keep on repeating themselves constantly and continuously all the time with the university of the universe. If I miss a lesson, Bhagavan doesn't give up on me. He keeps repeating the same lesson. A repetitive nature, okay, that I'm not giving up on you. That aspect of prema, that is avartanam. Avartanam means it's cyclical, repeats itself. Ma nivrittatma. So beautiful is the Nivrit Atma. The Atma, we immediately say Atma is inside. Atma is present everywhere. I am present in Atma. That is the way we must think. Right? How can this such a greater than the greatest, the Brahmandam, how can it be? How can I contain it within this little body? See how the trick mind plays. Yes, of course he is present here also, but I am present within this Brahmandam, this Nivrit Atma. Okay? So, the indweller does not mean he is present in me. I am present in him. That is an important difference we must understand. Even though this Atma is present in the whole cosmos and the whole Vishwam, he is absolutely unattached to it. Same way, I am not attached to my own image in a mirror. I'm attached to it to the extent that the ego plays in, so I look at to see whether I look good and all that. Beyond that, I know it's only an image. It's only a mirage, right? So, Bhagavan is like when you project something, you project a PowerPoint presentation on a screen, we know very well that projection is really not true. It's not attached to the actual thing, right? Same way, Bhagavan has projected himself. The love, prema has projected itself in so many forms. And all this lila and all going on. But it is not attached to it. That is Nivrit Atma. The difference between that projection and the projection that each one of us is making, same Bhagavan is projecting the cosmos from within me, my own mind. Difference is, I attach myself to the projections. The moment I do not attach myself to the projections I myself make, and just enjoy it as a person sitting in the audience, witness, so to speak, right? Then I become Nivritatma. I manifest this aspect of Bhagavan, right? Nivritatma. Avartano Nivritatma Samvritas Sampramardanaha. Samvritaha. Swami, why am I not able to decouple myself from the projections I myself make? Why am I getting attached to so many things? Even though I know that is not the reality, and even though I know that's going to give me only sadness and misery and all that, still I continue to do it. What is that aspect in me that pulls me and pushes me to do that? That aspect is also Bhagavan. Please understand. This is the Bhagavan. There is not a iota or a dot where Bhagavan is not present. Even that aspect that makes me, that gives me this ignorance, what we call as Maya, right? Even though I know this is not true, I'm still attached to it. I know intellectually I should not be attached to it. I know, not only intellectually, intuitively I know. Right? Based upon my conscience also I know. Still I am attached to it. That aspect that hides my own truth from myself, that is Samvritaha. So Nivritatma, Samvritaha. Both aspects are there within me. This is how Bhagavan is present. Nimishaha, Animishaha, right? All these things are present. And it's like nothing but hide and seek. Okay. Then Sampramardanaha. Sampramardanaha is, next question comes, now there is one part of it that is witness, unattached. Another part of me keeps on getting attached to it. When is this going to end? The aspect of Bhagavan that also destroys this illusion. Right? Illusion means this moham, this attachment. That is Sampramardanaha. How does he destroy it? We call him Rudra. He gives me misery and he gives me solution. So he teaches all the time. This is not the right way. This is not the right way. It's like a maze. We talked about this so many times. I'm going the wrong way. I hit against the wall. That's not wasted. Because I go in the wrong way and get suffering. Suffering is a wall that is hitting me. Oh, you come the wrong way. Find another route. So he gives me the teaching, right? And to bring me back in the right path. The teaching is give love, receive love. That's all the teaching is, nothing more than that. Prema eva. Right? That's all the teaching is. If I follow that pathway, then I am in the royal road. Just give love, receive love. Give love, receive. Karma palatyagaha. We sort of spoke about all that, right? So those teachings I follow, then I am on the royal path. That beautiful path to the lotus feet. That is one who, the moment I stray from there, I go on a detour, I go and fall in a ditch or whatever happens, right? Then I have to get back. So the giver of misery and also the solver of the problem. This is the teaching that is going on. This is the destruction of illusion. Okay? That is going on. That is sampramardanaha. Sampramardanaha. Gurur Gurutamo Dhama Sathya Satya Parakramah Nimisho Nimishasragvi Vachaspati Rudaradhihi Agranir Gramanir Strivan Nyayo Neka Samiranah Sahasramurdha Visvatma Sahasrakshas Sahasrapat. Here Sahasramurdha. Now, Murdham means head actually. Okay? And head has got the eyes and all that. Murtam means form. Okay? So both will be applicable to Swami. Here it is Sahasra Murdha. Infinite heads. Okay? Sahasra Murdha Visvatma Sahasrakshas Sahasrapat Avartano Nivristatma Samvritas Sampramardanaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om.